I often get questions along the line, Olivier, I found a study that shows that leaning back is better than sitting up straight. What do you think of it? Why do you say that you should not lean back? Okay, let's try and clarify all this. The first thing I'd like to draw your attention on is that leaning back is this. Okay, my lower back is on the chair. This is not leaning back. This is pure slouching. You see, I can have my hand here under my lower back. So there, my lower back is, say, hanging in between with all my weight resting on it, which creates hernias. Okay? So, this being said, let's now try to understand these studies. These studies rightly observe that when you stand, there's gravity on the tissues, whilst when you lie down, well, of course there's also gravity, but there's much less weight on your lower back because you're lying down. Yeah. Hence, the logic behind these studies is to say, well, if this is maximum pressure and this is minimum pressure, the more I go towards lying down, the less pressure there should be in the lower back. So they go on and measure the pressure in your lower back. And indeed, they observe that here I have less pressure in my lower back than here. But careful, because in practice you have to apply this properly. If you have a chair that has no headrest like mine now, I lean back. What would my head like to do? Well, my head would like to go backwards like this, and what prevents it from doing so is the tension in the anterior neck muscles. When these muscles are tonic, this happens. Okay, so it's like forward head posture. This I can get rid of if I use a headrest. Okay, if I have a headrest, fine, all good. I do not have a strain on my front neck anymore because the weight of my head is borne by the headrest. So now I'm still okay. But look, if I do a study like this, this is not a study that applies to office workers. Why not? Well, because your line of sight is here in direction of the ceiling, once your screen is not there. So in practice, if you work like that, you'll have to go forward with your head to watch your screen. And this is if you watch your desktop screen. If you watch your laptop screen or your mobile phone, it's even more. That's point number one. Point number two is, in this position, your arms are behind your hip joints. So if you want to work like this, you have to extend your arms against gravity, which is a violation of what we called rule number 2 in the 3 rules of posture, meaning that my neck isn't relaxed. So the only solution to be comfortable in this position, leaning back, is 1, to use my eyes and not my head for watching my screen. Good luck to hold this for 8 hours. 2, to have my armrests supporting my arms just below my elbows, so that, this movement is absorbed by my armrests. But once you're there, you're stuck, You don't have mobility of your arms anymore. How are you going to use the mouse? How are you going to use the keyboard? So don't get confused between lab studies that measure the impact of backrest angle on the pressure in your lower back and the conclusions that you can draw from that for practice in the office. These are studies that you can use as a reason to relax like this, to meditate, to listen to music, to even participate to a conference call, if you have a headrest again, if you have a headrest. But as soon as you need to do something on a screen with your eyes and or with your hands on a keyboard, the equation is completely different. And when I need to use either my eyes or my hands, bringing the backrest forward will make that my line of sight is naturally in direction of my screen, plus my arms can be on the keyboard whilst everything is relaxed. So you don't want to save your back at the expense of your neck, that would be level 1. And actually, if you analyze a bit in a greater depth, you will realize that when you do that, there's actually an increased strain in your lower back, because as I'll show in the next video that will be published on this channel, the neck and the lower back work together against the thoracic, meaning that strain in the neck results in strain in the lower back. So again, careful, don't get confused between studies in a lab and things that you can apply directly to your life in the office, where there's a screen, a keyboard and a mouse that completely change the parameters of the equation.